Hey, hello everybody. Welcome back to Two Mediums and a Large. Today we have empowerment medium Tara Diana, who we love so much, and we just thought we needed to get you on here to talk about everything. So welcome.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for the nice accolades and everything. Thank you. Thank you. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, so we wanted to kind of pick your brain today on a few different things. I know Ashley has came up with just some questions to ask you just to get to know your story a little bit. Do you mind sharing with us how this began and how long you've been doing this?
Yeah, for sure. So I am one of those people that says that goes right back to my childhood, blah, blah, blah. So literally 3 years old, talking to spirit. Of course, you don't know what you're doing back then, but that's where it started. But it didn't actually get nurtured until I got married. So that's like around being 26, 25, 26. I actually can't remember. We've been together for so long. I don't know. It just feels like forever. So that's when it got nurtured. And that was where everything changed. I found a spiritualist church. I lost my first son. And so my sister said to me, go to this church. It's 10 minutes from your house. You'll like it. It's you. It's you. And so I went down there and it was me. And I still go 25 years later. I am still a part of that church. I run their psychic fairs. I run their greetings from spirit nights. And I'm still part of that church. I'm very happy to say it was a very cool experience and it nurtured me in back then, 25 years ago, mediumship was not as predominant as it is now. So I wasn't even 100% sure what a medium was when they were like, "Oh, you're going to be a medium here." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Can someone give me some clarity on this, please?" And so they just nurtured me. I sat in circle for with some of the coolest. Oh, I wish you guys could meet them. They've passed over now, but some of the coolest mediums. And we sat in the dark. I totally forgot about this till the other day, but we sat in
At
the
the
dark.
church?
Yeah, in that circle room.
Ah,
In the circle room, we all
oh.
sat in the dark and the door was closed and you could not come in. If you were not there on time, you were like done. And I'm the other way. I'm the person who's like, come in, join us, bring the baby, bring the dog, like just come. And these ladies, and bless their soul, they were so lovely. We're like that. And they just nurtured me. And then went on to a very well-known medium, international medium, Claudette Godin. She's also passed over to the other side. And I sat in her circle for a bit, and then I kind of just went boom and expanded and grew into all the things I do. And I do a lot. So,
Wow.
I never actually heard of how you started, I don't think. And I think I was surprised to hear that you started after you got married. It really just things picked up for you. What do you think it was that sparked that in you at that time in life?
safety. He was safe. There was no
Oh,
judgment. He's Roman Catholic, which makes me laugh my head off. Not practicing, but he's Roman Catholic. And he did all the Catholic things like catechism and all those things I don't even know or understand. No shade to anyone. But um, he did all those things. And then he was just this guy who just was like, what do you say you do? I said, I think I do this. And he's like, okay, well, if you make people happy, they all seem to come out of here smiling or crying, but all feeling you do you. I don't need to understand it. And I was like, thank you, sir. And we're right. And then of course, like I said, there was other things that happened around and who knew that, you know, I would lose another son, you know, 20 years down the road and back to and I'm elevating again from that. So yeah, it's one of those weird things, but safety to answer your question, Lara, baby, it was safety. I felt safe to do it. He didn't judge me. He didn't be like my mom, bless her soul, she crossed over last year. She was like, "You do what?" She's like, "Oh, are you going to charge people for that?" She was so concerned about my reputation and what it was going to look like. But think of her generation, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, Mom, don't worry about it. She's like, well, I worry. So now
I
she
can
talks.
relate to the safety thing.
Mhm.
Having a supportive partner definitely helps.
For real. For real. And that's the key right there. I have nothing else to add to that statement. Mike, that's it.
Wow.
Amazing.
Wow. I do have a question if you don't mind. You mentioned a bit ago that when somebody finally told you, you're a medium, that you're a medium, you're like, oh, that's what this is, right? So I guess my question to kind of ask deeper into that is, once they told you that, did that make more of your childhood experiences like click, like, oh, these are some things that have happened to me, and now I know exactly why they've happened? Did that help you understand more?
Oh, for the love of the great goddess, absolutely. Now we knew why mom sent me to a psychiatrist. Why doesn't my daughter sleep? Why is she up all night? So it did. It also explained something really interesting. It explained my people pleasing um, trauma. The fact that I still am a people pleaser, but I've got more control over it. But it explained it, the fact that I needed to be considered normal. So I wanted people to make sure they didn't find out anything weird about, and I wasn't even sure what I was doing though. Like Robbie, I wasn't. I didn't know that the
Yeah,
imaginary friends were spirits. I didn't know that, other people weren't talking, but there was something in me that needed everyone to like me.
yeah.
I still
And
have
that's
some
that's
that
something
say,
that's something I think is very interesting that you just said, because I know myself, and I'm going to speak for Ashley and Lara both, because we talked about it before. We all have these people pleasing tendencies, right? So to hear you say that, it clicks another thing in my mind to say, is this something that all quote unquote psychic people go through, right? Because I do a lot of readings for people where I'm helping them understand what is coming into their life, what abilities they may have, and almost every one of them have this people pleasing ability, that they just want people to like them. And so that makes puzzles fit into me that, when you're feeling kind of strange anyway, that's the first thing we want to go to, right? Is just to make sure that we got to do what we can to make people love us, right? I know part of mine too was being overweight. And when you're growing up overweight, you've got to make the joke first before other people do, right? So it doesn't hurt as bad. And so that feeds into a lot of it. So thank you for saying that, because I think that might help a lot of people out here that may be wondering what's going on with things coming through, and them going, "Oh, I'm a people pleaser too." Maybe that might be another clue. So thank you for saying that.
if I can add something to that, people pleasing, and it depends on the type of where you're coming from in your spirituality. So I consider myself a spiritualist, although I think I'm deconstructing, but I consider myself a spiritualist. So to me, all my work is done to be of service. I
Yeah,
want to be of service. This isn't about the money. I am well taken care of in my business, but it's not about the money. It's not about anything other than being able to help people. That for me is the big thing. And so I truly feel that if you're a spiritualist or you're coming from the place of like wanting to be of service, that people pleasing thing is just a little more engaged. It's the, I have this, I don't call it a gift because I believe we're all psychics and all intuitives. So I don't call it a gift, but I have a connection. I always use the math thing. Some people are really great at math. That ain't me. I'm good at talking to dead people. So, I just have that stronger connection. But I truly believe, honestly, that makes me fodder for all the people who like, Tara, help me. Tara, do it. Tara, can you tap
yeah,
in? Tara, can I call you? Tara, it's 2 a.m. Now I've created massive boundaries to all of that, but I just wanted to put that out there. I truly believe that that's a real thing, like you said.
yeah. I don't disagree either. Because I feel I'm the same way. I'm a spiritualist. I was put on this earth to help people. And until I mean, I didn't really realize it until things came online and I started being able to really help people. But there were clues my whole life, right? Like, helping to take care of my mom and helping to raise, my little sister and my nieces, there are clues along the way that people would call me, Robbie, you're a caretaker. You need to take care of people. But when I realized, oh, this was my path the whole time, I realized I was doing it the way that I knew how then, and now I can do it in a different way. And so I love that being able to help people like that is one of your big goals, because that's one of our mine, I know, and I know it's one of these ladies too. So that's great. I love that.
You know what's crazy
Ashley?
is when you were saying you have a connection to spirit. I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was a tiny little orb that went right over her shoulder, and I see it all the time when I watch Tara online. There's always orbs in the background, so you can tell that you're very, very connected. But if you can just go back, Tara, and kind of explain to the viewers, what did you mean by deconstructing spiritualism? Because I'm really intrigued by that.
Okay, so spiritualism has a whole lot to it. And I've been to Arthur Findlay College, Stansted. I've been there. They didn't know what to do with me. It was lovely. Um, I actually went for someone else to help someone else experience it. I knew what I knew, and that was fine. So spiritualism to me is not about the seven principles. So if you go into spiritualism, there's seven principles, right? Personal responsibility, do unto other, blah, blah, blah. That stuff is not necessarily my jam. It's common sense, truthfully. And I mean, I would follow that just from being the person that I am. But the staunchness to it, the strict idea of what mediumship is and how you can do mediumship. I mean, you ladies know, and I ain't that gal. You were not doing that. There's lots of ways to connect, and mediumship is just the foundation for all metaphysical spiritual work. So there's lots of ways that you can work. So I'm finding it a little uncomfortable now to be sitting in any kind of confinement, right? And I mean, I've always been my own kind of flavor, so that's fine. But now I'm thinking like I'm not loving how they're perceiving things. So I've kind of removed myself in some ways from doing services or anything like that anymore because I feel like their strict way of thinking about what spiritualism is, what a spiritualist is, and what mediumship is doesn't align anymore with me. So I can still be a part of the church and I can still help churches and still be a part of that. Also, there is a really unkind subconscious way that ministers and reverends and whatnot, not all of them, treat people who don't want to follow that particular path. So when we say we don't follow a dogma or a creed, I actually live that. I don't know if everyone else is living that, but I live that. So when, there's churches that won't call me to be of service. They won't ask me. And I'm a little much anyway, right? Like I'm a handful. So I also don't succumb to their idea of what someone on platform should be acting like, but I'm really good at what I do and people really like me. So why wouldn't you allow me to bring some new energy into the place? But they have their standards and their thought processes. And
You know
That is so
what?
amazing. Lara and Ashley and I think have talked before on here about because what you're talking about is turning spiritualism into a religion, right? Into an organized religion. We talk a lot about trying to stay away from those rules, letting people know there are no rules around this because when you put rules around it, you're just creating a religion. So fantastic, Tara. I'm sorry, Lara. I'm sorry. I
I
just
was
had to say
actually, no, that's okay. I was actually just going to say that's one
that.
thing that I appreciate about you so much. And I've told you this before that when I was starting, I felt very confined into being and doing everything a certain way. And I felt like unless I did it that way, I was not going to succeed. And one of the things since connecting with you is it's really helped me. For the listeners, I also mentor with Tara, so she's great. She's a great teacher in the way she empowers you into trusting your own ability. And she doesn't try to change the way you are connecting with spirit, has actually excelled my mediumship by so much just by knowing that I could trust in that. And so when you take away all of those stipulations of how you have to be, it doesn't mean you're not ethical about it. It just means that we all are meant to connect in our own ways. And that's something that I think is so great, that you teach that way and that you empower other mediums to trust in that.
And the key thing is to trust in it though, because there's always going to be somebody that comes at you, right? There's always going to be somebody that says, well, you're not doing mediumship. Really? Am I not giving you, the evidence that you need? Just not the way you expect it. So you stay
Yeah.
in your lane, baby, and let me do my work. And you take the message because you know you're going to take the message. You're going to tootle off and go home after you've chastised me and been like, damn it, she was right. She had it. She had it. But because in their minds, they have this idea of what it should look like,
Yeah.
they're not
Yeah.
gonna give me the credit that Spirit and I deserve. And remember, it's not about me. It's not about Lara. It's not about Asher, Rob. It's not about any of us. It's about literally our connection to Spirit. I'm just a conduit. That's it. You don't like the way I conduit? That's okay. You don't have to.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree.
Yeah, I couldn't agree
Ashley, any
more. Yeah, I just want to ask what this actually flows right in perfectly here. What's your biggest pet peeve that you're seeing in the spiritual community right now?
Hmm. I feel this is a loaded question.
I'm still, no, when Nancy and I first started our podcast, Spirit Angels and Guides, oh my, we did this series called Tara's Triggers because I was triggered so much by the spiritual community. Um, what triggers me right now? It is this idea of competition, that we are competing with each other. There's so much out there. And let me go a step further with that, friends. It's not even so much about the competition, it is about how we treat each other. So there's this underlying fakeness in how some people in the spiritual community are doing the work. And my pillars have always been authenticity, sitting in your power, trust the process, and then speak your mother fluff and truth, people. If you're not speaking your truth and coming from your heart, none of that's going to work for you. So for me, it really is the idea, like, that people have no problems taking, the hard work that you do. I create a lot of programs. I create a lot of events. I am that person, and people will come along and they will just be like, oh, you know what? We're just going to take Tara's whole platform. We're going to stick it on mine. We're not even going to change the contracts. We're going to keep it exactly the same and just put my name on it. And then when I say something, I'm the bad person. So for me, it really is about how much ethical work is being done in the spiritual community. Yes, there's plenty for everyone. Who's ever said there's not? And besides that, your flavor is going to be your flavor. I'm not taking Robbie's clients. I'm not taking Ashley's clients and my clients. I'm happy. I don't gatekeep. They can go see all of you all day, every day, because they'll always come back to me in the end, right? They're able to see all of you. So I don't gatekeep anything, but I do think it's unethical when people take your work that you've done and then tell you that you're the problem. You're the problem here. So for me, that's what and I'm seeing a lot of that right now. And I feel like there's a very harsh competitive edge going on. And so
Totally.
I just block people now or unfollow or I'm just like, no, not today, Satan, and we just go, right? Like I don't have the time for it because my soul hurts and because I'm a people pleaser, I get caught up in the idea and I'm not flawless, babies. So I get caught up in the idea that I should be fixing this or I should be trying something more
Yeah.
to make this better with this person, although they're the ones that are treating me like shit. Excuse me, language, sorry. But
What do you
yeah.
Yeah.
think about the prevalence of AI that's infiltrated the psychic world? I've seen it come across a lot where I mean you can tell that some people are speaking just completely through AI, and how do you feel about that?
So I have an actually really good understanding of AI now because I have a really, really good friend who is a medical intuitive medium who has spent her whole life in AI. She works for some big companies and whatnot. So for me, I'm going to put something out there. AI has changed my administration side of my business. Okay. I am fully approving AI for my admin work. Um, Having said that, anyone that's using AI to give messages or whatnot, and I'm gonna trigger somebody, maybe hopefully not you guys, but you have to be, I mean, we all talk about it. Like everyone's afraid that, people are going to start using AI for actual messages from spirit and stuff. But I'm going to put something out there. I was testing something the other day and just playing with it. And I said, I believe in spirit. I was just playing with AI. I said, I believe in spirit. I believe that when I set an intention, so shall it be. I have worked that way with spirit all my life. AI doesn't change that. So, is Kuan Yin here? She's my master teacher. And this bunch of stuff came up, and I was like, oh God, what have I done? But it was very cool. And I'm going to say something that other people are going to go crazy for about, and I don't care. I read it. I read it back to myself. Okay. And I was like, that's exactly how my guide works. That's exactly how Kuan Yin speaks to me. That's exactly how she does it. and I don't know the full in and outs of AI, you guys. I'm not pretending. That's not my forte. I am very Tara talks to dead people kind of thing. That's like the extent of it. But I was like, that's an interesting thing. Do I go to AI to do that? No, but I tested it out because there was another conversation, Robbie, that was being had somewhere else. And I was like, I need to see what this looks like. And I'm not gonna lie, how do I know that Kuan Yin didn't come through the AI channel because I asked her to? How do
Right.
I know?
Yeah.
Like
And
a
I
Right?
tool.
yeah, my guides have told me before because I've asked them the question, like I'll go through TikTok or YouTube or something and the right videos come up, right? You're like, oh my gosh, is this talking to me? And I'll ask them, I asked them one time, I said, is this really messages or is this the algorithm? And they would tell me, why can we not make the algorithm
I
bring
Mm.
you messages? And I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, okay, I get what you're saying. So I don't disagree with you at all. Tara, I've had some experience with AI that I can't explain, but it's not something that I would ever use in readings, like
Yeah,
for
me
other people.
neither. Because
It's
I
not
like the
something,
personal feel, right?
yeah,
I like the whole flow of energy. So when I channel messages for the memberships or whatever I'm doing, that's Kuan Yin and I doing that. I might throw my channel message into it and say put it into a sequence and send it everyone. But that's not them doing anything. They don't change a single
right,
thing with it. That's just called using AI for administration work that you hate doing, right? Like that's
Yeah.
it.
right.
But I think people should be well aware if you start setting it up correctly with the intentions, that's just another tool. That's just and Kuan
Kind
Yin
of
will
like
come.
how you would use a tarot card. Like
Exactly.
Mhm.
you're using that as a tool to help you get the message. Spirit already knows what message needs to come across, whether it's through AI, through your tarot card, or through your algorithm on your Facebook newsfeed.
Yep.
Like that message will get across when it needs to.
Now I will say one more thing. I don't talk about AI a lot on the internet at all, unless I'm in my private groups or in my memberships. And I'll tell you why. I don't need the flack
Yeah,
that people
for
start
sure.
screaming about water use. I don't even know. I mean, I always go to Paula and I ask her, I'm like, Paula, what are they talking about? Why are they so angry? And she's like, well, it's like this. But I'm going to say something. She explained it really well, you guys. She said to me, do you remember when cell phones came out? Everyone's cell phones were going to be the worst thing that ever happened to us. And maybe it is. But, it was going to take all this and blah, blah, blah. She says, now AI is going to go through the same process. Worst thing that ever happened is going to suck the world dry, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not saying that it's not environmentally unfriendly. I'm just saying like everyone needs to calm down just a little bit
I'm
here
pretty
and take.
sure they use the same cooling systems for things like Netflix and Disney as they do for regular AI. That's what I heard. So I don't know.
Maybe even nuclear reactors. I mean, how do you know? Right? They need lots of cooling for heaven's sake. So
Yeah.
I say we get
You know,
rid
I
of
feel
the nuclear things and keep AI for right now.
I
Yeah,
feel
it could
like
be
I feel
helpful.
like I feel like I'm asking too many questions and that I'm overriding Larry and Ashley here, but I just,
No.
I
Oh, it's all
um
good.
you mentioned earlier that you had a mentor named Claudette, or that somebody, I personally I've never heard of her, but there's a lot of people I've never heard of. But my question to you is, um, as a medium, have you connected with her and had her help you from the other side as well since she's passed?
I have, but not in any great capacity. So she came through when I wrote the front page of her book for someone. Someone wrote a book about Claudette and they asked me, actually the back page, they asked me to write the closing on it. And she came through and she thanked me and whatnot. And I felt her when she came through, when Ryan passed away, I felt her come through and a gentleness around. We were very different people. And so as time moved on and I became more progressive in my work and more professional and turned this, I've been doing this full time for 18 years. So as that started to happen, we kind of parted ways a little bit. She ran her business. She was really part of some big ISF, something spiritual federation in England or something. She was a big part of that. And none of that entertains me or interests me. So we kind of went our separate ways, but she has showcased herself to me. Also, someone once tried to use, they were mad at me, and this is so weird, and they went and told another medium not to work with me because, and that Claudette said not to do that. And the other medium was like, "Are you kidding me? Who talks like, she was like," and I called her out on it and I said, "Don't you ever do that because that's not what spirit does.
Yeah.
Spirit does not come through and say, oh, you're mad at Tara for walking into a room. So now we're just going to say that Claudette didn't like you." I was like, oh my God. So yeah, she's come through a few times, but, and some of the other mentors I've had a few times, but none of them have come through for any big aha moments, truthfully. Like any big spiritual aha moments and shifts for me. None of my mentors have come through for that.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yeah.
I have a question if Ashley doesn't have one.
You go ahead, Lara.
Um, okay. Um, Backtracking to the very beginning, you were talking about how you started in the spiritualist church as well, right?
Mhm.
I'm wondering what you can say for developing mediums and just like support, how that can kind of support you in development or not support you. Like, where do you stand with that?
The spiritualist churches?
Yeah, being included and I know that they offer like a lot of different events, how that can maybe help a developing medium.
So I have not belonged to many spiritual places other than the First United Spiritualist Church. I did work out of Lighthouse for a little bit, but again, egos get in the way, so I always step back. And the church when I started going was the foundation of my work. So what I mean by that is I was reading every psychic fair. I was there, I was gaining clients, and then eventually the clients would start coming to me in my home, this same room I've been in for 18 years. I need new carpets, people. I need new carpets. Let's manifest. So I would come, to the church and I would do all that, and then I would start, running their circles and things like that. Nowadays, I would say that the psychic fair is amazing. I would say that they have some lovely people that come in and do their intuitive development circle. The only thing for me, and they have like healing exchanges and they have readers exchanges if you're practicing, that's all great for up and coming individuals, but there's no mentorship there.
Mhm.
There's no mentorship there. So what I mean by that is they allow all different people to come in. So you get a host of different ways to do the work. You can see and say that resonates with me. I'd like to incorporate that, or I'd like to learn more about that. But there's no mentorship there, right? So and I guess maybe some of the like maybe the president of the church or the vice president or what are mentoring people. I don't know. But as the church itself, I've never seen actual mentorship there because the circles are all different people. So you're always going to get something different and have to kind of put it together like a puzzle. Whereas when people work with me, we go from A to like Z and together. And then you can go and do whatever you want to do with anyone else because we should all have a host of teachers. So
Yeah.
it's a great start though,
Okay.
and I'm telling you, I will hands down say it built my business for me. But
Do you think that
Yeah.
do you think that hinders developing mediums in the beginning? Too many options, too many
I
ways
do.
of
I've always felt that. And I remember when cause everyone gets excited. We're all like, "Oh my gosh, I'm a medium." People announce it online. They've suddenly become a medium. You're like, "Ooh, okay, calm down, friends." But it's not a fad and it's not a flex. Okay? So we get excited and we want to learn all the different things about the metaphysical world, spiritual world. Even if you're doing energy practitioner work, whatever you want to call it, we get excited and we want to start taking all these classes and all these courses and all these things. My personal opinion, and it's my humble opinion, is that if you are doing that, you are going to slow your progress down. You think you're gonna level it up. You think you're gonna level it up because you are getting so much information. But how are you working with that information? How are you integrating that and embodying it? What resonates with you? You're not because you're off to the next thing, right? So I always say stick with a mentor unless you absolutely are not clicking with the circle or the mentor. Okay, that's fair. But stick with a mentor for a year and get as much or as long as they are, open to mentoring. My mentor programs are 4 months, but you can stay with me forever, baby. I never let you go, right? So you stay there, but if you don't fully embrace what they have to offer, you're gonna be floundering, and then you're gonna go to the next person and take bits and pieces, and then you're a jack of all trades and a master of none.
Good
Yeah.
point. Really
Yeah,
good point, Tara.
I was actually going to ask you a question with the that you led into great there. But I agree the same way. I talk to people about times of I don't really talk about what I can do. It's just what I can do to help you. Because it's not important, to me. But on that line, I would like to ask you, what modalities are you trained in? What modalities do you use in your work and mediumship, and do you do energy work? And I would just kind of like to know a little bit more about that.
So I am an evidential medium. That's what I took. I don't even want to say trained, but that's what comes naturally to me is
Right.
evidential mediumship. I prefer channeling, so I prefer working with higher vibrational beings. It's just my jam. I love bringing in the messages of encouragement and power. And my whole contract with spirit is if it's not going to move someone forward, I'm not the gal. Send them somewhere else because I'm here to move people forward. I energy work. I am a psycheme, third level psycheme energy practitioner. I am a second level Reiki, but none of that. Oh, I'm about to do something. All that circles and this and that. I just walk into a room and I trust spirit and I put my hand on the head and I'll say, Spirit, you know what to do. I don't need to know anything about this.
Yep.
And that's kind of my flow. So when people come to me, I just did a whole 6 month mentorship for someone on soul retrievals. Right. So I do have a little bit of a variety, but most people come to me for mediumship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
say mentorship too, because I remember seeing you on Courtney Dawson's podcast and I booked a reading, like a mini reading with you. And I was like, I need to know this person. I need to work with this person. This is where I'm supposed to go. Because I feel like your guidance is like, you have a wealth of knowledge and you've run a successful business.
Hmm.
So you're
I do.
very,
Yeah.
very wise mentor.
Thank you. It's my age. I'm old.
I would like to
You're
say too
seasoned.
well, like say for our listeners out there too that I know that you've heard Lara talk about Tara being her mentor and Ashley talk about being her mentor. And kind of I think we've kind of talked about this before, but about how no matter how much you develop, how advanced you get, that sometimes you just need or want a mentor, right? So I didn't want people to think that, oh, they're lacking in something because now they need a mentor. No, that's not what it is. It's we always like to continue building our knowledge, right? We always like to continue not only our knowledge, but our connection,
Yeah.
right? How deep can it get? With what else can I channel now, right? Because the deeper you get and the more you learn, the more you kind of learn to open up. So, and I totally respect the fact that you both are mentored by Miss Tara here. She impresses me. So, um,
Oh, thank
she should be
you.
able she should be able to help anybody out there. I think that might like it.
So my goal of you liking me worked. Right?
I think you'd have to really offend him not to like him, like maybe not like his new look or something.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
because then we have a problem. All right.
I'm liking it. You're looking good. You're looking
Well,
good,
thank
my
you.
So
friend.
I was going to ask earlier too. Are you from Canada as well? But then you said A to Z, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's from Canada.
Yeah. I'm definitely
So
Canadian.
that's
yeah,
good to
we're
know.
actually close by. So Tara and I live probably within like 30 minutes of each other. So,
Hmm.
um, but we
Awesome.
still have yet to have you guys around. What I was going to ask you though is going back into mentorship. What are your thoughts on mediums that are out there but have not had mentorship and who just don't believe that they need mentorship to be of service? What are your thoughts around that?
Well, it depends on the medium's abilities. Like how well are they connecting? Are they literally, able to pull in the evidence and stand up in their power and provide what's needed to be provided? If that's the case, and they're like, nope, I'm just going to YouTube this until I'm blue in the face or read every book, then, but they're doing the work. You do you, baby. You do you.
Yeah.
I do feel that there are etiquettes, boundaries, there are things that I really benefited from by being in circles because truthfully, did I need to be in those circles with Claudette and with Susan and Carolina and all of them? I could do the work. They were just honing my skill set and giving me the extras, like the platform work. You will not see me go off platform into the audience. I just don't do that. I don't need to be engulfed in everyone's, energy. It's already, we have, 40, 50 sets of eyes all on me, all wanting a message. I don't need to be in that. I learned that from Claudette. So I learned that she's like, well, you can go down there if that feels right to you. I don't do it because of this. And so when I sat with that and I was like, okay, that resonates with me. That resonates with me so much. Keep my space, right? So I think that there is going to be lots of people who are not going to put the time and energy in to finding someone. It's not always super cheap, but it should never cost you your mortgage, right?
Right.
I mean, uh, and you know what? I never devalue myself ever. And I will always come to the table for someone within reason. And I will make payment programs. I will be like, you want to do this with me? I'm not going to kick you to the wind because you can't give me this right now. Right?
Right.
I even did that with those circles that you guys, I said, come to the table. I'll meet you where you're at, just to see if more people could step into the space and be able to do the work that they want to do because finances are the first thing that will hinder you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
I think that mentorship is something that's very supportive, but it all
Hmm.
depends on who you are, right? Like Robbie, you never underwent any mentorship, but you help so many people. And like I've had readings done by you and they were amazing, right? So it just depends, I guess, on the person and what their ethics are as well, right?
ethics are huge here. Ethics are huge.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I actually had somebody ask me one time. It was even before I really deeply started this work, because I grew up a Southern Baptist and became atheist for years, but I had a Christian ask me, well, if you don't read the Bible, where do your ethics come from? And my response to her was, if your ethics come from a book, are they really your ethics?
Mm.
She just kind of looked at me, she's like, what? And I'm like, I know what's right and what's wrong. I know what I should and should not do. And it confused her. And I mean, that just, nothing against her or anything, but it also, I get what you're saying about some people need to be taught kind of the ethics and things in this work that we do, because some of it's not just comes to you like it should. Like just what you said. Some people will just walk out into the audience because they think, hey, the energy's deeper. I'm just going to go in here. And then the first time they do it and they go home and they can't sleep for 4 days because they keep getting, spirits around them. Then they say, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. So yeah, I don't disagree with anything you just said. I think that's great.
I like simple spiritualism. I like simple enlightenment. I'd rather someone say to me, Tara, maybe don't do that because of this. And then I know instead of me having to learn it the hard way,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Because that
yeah.
hard way can be like, and especially when you're working with spirit. I mean, how many times do we hear the people who don't sleep and the ones that say, oh, I'm on 24/7 because I can never get rid of the spirit. And I'm like, well, who are you working with? You have control, baby. Like, you know, and they don't know that because there's no one telling them that. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, not everyone clicks easily with a mentor. Sometimes it's really hard to find a mentor that's your jam, right? But development circles are amazing. If you can't afford, and remember what I said, if you are paying someone your mortgage every month, right, to do something with them, we've got a problem. But if you are able to go into a development circle with the facilitator being someone you respect, you trust, you feel good with, that can be enough if you stay in that circle. My circle has been running for 7 years. I'm like, guys, where get out? No, but and it's not some lots of them are practitioners already. They just like the idea of being in a circle and continuing to practice and grow with like-minded people. So if you find someone that you gel with, that can be just as good, in my humble opinion, as going one-on-one with a mentor. If you can't find that financially, and like let's not I deserve to be paid for the work I do, just like a doctor does and whatnot. But I also have the ability, like I said, someone just came to me for mentorship and she wrote me back. I did the proposal, I sent it to her. I'm going to give you an example super quick. She wrote back and said, "Whoa!" She says, "That's just not my realm." I knew it wasn't in her realm, but I
Mhm.
have to do what I have to do. So immediately I had already prepared. Here's what else I can offer you. I'm not going to leave you hanging. So here's the next space. But if I don't show them what it is, they don't know what they're getting. So I immediately had them, I took them from the mentorship one-on-ones to the academy, which is all group. And she could afford that easily and effortlessly.
Yeah. Really helps to have like-minded people that you grow with. I like, I like to sit in on circles. I like to do all that stuff. I just find it helps some days, my confidence is a little lower, and having those people to kind of talk about it with really helps you grow and trust in it, right?
Hmm. Agreed.
Do you have any thoughts, Ashley?
Yeah, I think that was a great discussion, actually. I feel like we covered a lot in this
Yeah.
episode. Thank you, Tara.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you guys.
You
This
know,
was fun.
I would actually have another question if you don't mind, because I've been talking a lot today. But you said something in that last thing that you said that I think is kind of important for us to touch on because in some of the groups that I'm in and just conversations I have with people, there's a big discussion on if this is what you can do to help people, why do you charge them for it? Right? Or what makes you so special that you make so much money off this? First of all, I'm not rich, right? I take care of myself. But can you, in the 18 years you've been doing this, can you explain why you believe that, it's okay to charge what anybody does for what they do in this arena?
First thing I'm going to say is I had a hard time at the very beginning.
Yeah.
I had a hard time because I was unsure. I was still a little bit in distrust of what people were going to think of me. Remember, I suddenly just announced, almost like a Facebook thing that this is what I was doing. And my friends were like, "What are you talking about, girl?" And then I was going to say, "I'm charging this." And this was a while ago. So I remember an old school medium called me one day and she says, "We need to talk." And I was like, "Okay." And she's like, "First of all, you need to up your prices." I didn't even know she even knew I was doing one-on-one readings. And I was like, "Why?" And she said, "Honestly, Tara, you're outdoing us. You're reading for an hour to an hour and a half for people and charging $60 for it." She's like, "And you're good. You're going to take everyone." And I was like, "Oh." And she says, "You need to be on the even keel. You don't have to charge arm and a leg," she said to me, "but you got to charge a little more." And so I just said, "Okay." And I went home and I sat with it. And it was my husband that actually said to me, he's like, "Do you pay to go to a doctor?" I said, "No, we're in Canada." He's like, he's like, "Don't be a smartass." But he says, "Do you pay to go to a lawyer then?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Why do you pay to go to the lawyer?" And I was like, "Where are you going with this, sir? Like, hurry up." And he was like, "You go to a lawyer because you can't do what you need done. And you're going to pay them for their expertise." He says, "If everyone could talk to whoever or whatever you're doing, Tara, accurately, then they wouldn't be coming to you. So charge accordingly." And as I became more, yeah, as I became more, I don't want to use the word popular, more known, more people, coming in my space. Remember, my business was basically based on referrals from psychic fairs. And then a friend told a friend, told a friend, told a friend, because I wasn't doing this when social media was
Right.
around, really.
Yeah.
And so that's what he said to me, and I leaned into that. I really leaned into that. And I've always been the person who says it'll never be, "I don't need your mortgage payment, baby." And I'm not one of those mediums. Do I get booked up? Sure, I do. I only see clients twice a week, and then the rest of it I'm building retreats, and I'm building courses and classes and memberships. So do I get a little bit ahead of the game? Yeah, but you're not going to see me tell you to come to me and pay me, $1,000 and see me in 4 years.
Yeah.
That's never going to happen. Ever, ever, never. You might see me
Yeah.
in 4 weeks, but not 4 years and not for $1,000 for one
So
So
week.
for you, is it more like a fair energy exchange? It's not like you're trying to do it to get yourself rich overnight or, be the best of everybody. It's you're doing it to be of
Be
service and
of
to have
service.
a fair energy exchange.
I've done it for a can of fish.
yeah,
I read for soup. I've read for free.
That's
I
fair.
don't do that as much anymore, but I've read for free. I did an exchange with someone to walk my dog when I was away one day. You know what I mean? Like the money
yeah,
is, it's life. I mean, this has given me the opportunity to be with my kids. My kids are 25 and Ryan passed when he was 19. And I had the full opportunity to be with Ryan because I was at home working. I could travel with him for lacrosse. I could do I was a part of his life in a huge way that working mothers wouldn't have.
Yeah.
So, and I could pay for him to go to lacrosse, and he played for the Seattle Stars, and he did all these things. And so when he passed away, this is going to sound so strange, but just stay with me. One of the coolest things was that in my heart, I was like, he lived the fullest life. And I could only provide that for him because Spirit and I were working together, and I was charging people. bless, bless everyone. But I was able to do that, right? So yeah, it gave me, I've always said to Spirit, thank you, thank you, thank you for that.
Give
For
you that extra quality time together.
Yeah, like I mean, I drove him all over Canada and the United States, and we were on planes and all that stuff. And I got to do that for my daughter too. She was a competitive hip hop dancer, so those are things that were cool and valid for me. So there has to be an exchange because you deserve it. It's your time. It's your
Mhm.
time, it's your energy, and you deserve it.
That's something I appreciate too, having young children, is that um right now, like this is what I do. Maybe I'm not as busy as I'd like to be with it, but it gives me the opportunity to make money and still be home with my kids and to, do something that is important to me and helps people. So I'm glad you touched on that.
And just a reminder, you guys, building a business like this is not overnight.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ethically, it's not overnight. You're going to want the referrals. You're going to want to do the work to make it yours. And if you're thinking that you're just going to suddenly come on here and declare you're a medium and, all these clients are going to go to you, just don't forget, you're one of many, many, many fish in the sea. So what is making you stand out? What is it? Is it your good work? Is it are you flamboyant? I'm like in people's face, right? I walk into a room and I own it, but I'm good at what I do. So
Mhm.
healthy ego, but remember, we are sometimes just that little fishy in the sea.
I feel like
yeah.
that's important because there are people, and I've heard this myself from mentors that have said, I quit my job and I just automatically moved into this. And that hasn't been my journey. I still work full time. My goal is to, in the next 5 years, transition. So for you to speak to that, I feel is really authentic and it's true, right? It takes time to build the clientele, it takes time to build that business.
We all
And
have
we,
different journeys and how fast, I see people
Mhm.
on like they're like, oh my God, I blew up overnight and like had hundreds of thousands of followers. Like that's wonderful for you. That's really not the case for most people. We're
and
mostly
is it
working on this
true?
on our own levels. Huh?
Yeah.
And there's the other thing. Is it true? Remember what I say. If you're going to tell someone that you're a medium who can help you make $15,000 a month, I want receipts for the last
Yeah.
2 years of
Yeah.
your life, baby. You show me you can do that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You show me that you can do that. And I don't know. I always say go for quality over quantity when it comes to followers and clients and all of that. Because if I had 95,000 people following me, I could not facilitate anything for 95,000 people other than, a collective reading or some insight or a cute little, spicy TikTok or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, what could I give to 95,000 people who don't see most of my content, who are following me likely for the wrong reasons,
Yeah.
right? So go for quality over quantity.
Mhm.
Right.
That's great.
I feel like that's true for anything in life.
Mm-hmm.
Words
Yes,
of
it is.
wisdom. Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tara, for coming on
Thank you.
today. You were a wonderful guest, and I know that viewers are going to have so much to think about and process after listening to this. But thank you again for taking the time to sit with us.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. I
Thank you.
love this kind of stuff. I have to have you all on the spiritual view. I'll have you all three of you at the same time.
I
Oh, yeah.
Nice. That'd be
Sounds
like
great.
that.
Good stuff.
Absolutely.
Thank you, friends.
okay. Take care, everybody.